Protein is one of the most important nutrients after 60, but getting more of it doesn't have to mean shakes, powders, or complicated recipes. Today, we're looking at 10 simple, high-protein meals that are easy to make, satisfying, and full of flavor. And stay for number 8. It has the most protein on this list, and the stove never even comes on. Let's start with a warm, cheesy favorite. 1. Chicken Quesadilla. A crispy tortilla filled with melted cheese and seasoned chicken is hard to resist. And the best part is that this meal feels like comfort food while still providing plenty of protein. Start by heating a non-stick skillet over medium heat. Lay one large flour tortilla flat and sprinkle shredded cheddar and Monterey Jack cheese over half of the surface. Next, add about 1 cup of cooked shredded chicken. Rotisserie chicken works perfectly here because it's tender, flavorful, and requires almost no preparation. If you'd like a little extra flavor, add a few diced green onions or some finely chopped bell pepper. Just don't overload the tortilla. A quesadilla works best when the filling stays relatively simple. Fold the empty half of the tortilla over the filling and gently press it down. Cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on the first side until the bottom becomes golden brown and crisp. Carefully flip it and cook for another few minutes until the cheese is completely melted and the outside develops a beautiful golden crust. Transfer the quesadilla to a cutting board and let it rest for a minute before slicing it into wedges. This small step helps keep the filling from spilling out when you cut into it. The combination of chicken and cheese creates a meal that is both satisfying and packed with protein. It also feels much more indulgent than many foods people typically associate with healthy eating. One reason this recipe remains so popular is its versatility. Some people serve it with salsa, others with sliced avocado, and some enjoy it exactly as it is. It works for lunch, dinner, or even a quick meal when time is short. There is something especially satisfying about that first bite. The outside is crisp, the cheese stretches slightly, and the warm chicken creates a comforting texture that feels both familiar and filling. Next, let's move to the one that surprises almost everyone. 2. Savory Egg Muffins. Most people never expect a muffin to be high in protein. These savory egg muffins are packed with eggs, cheese, and vegetables, and they may be one of the easiest protein-rich meals on this list. To make them, start by cracking 6 large eggs into a mixing bowl. Whisk them until the yolks and whites are fully combined. Add about 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, half a diced bell pepper, a handful of chopped spinach, and a few sliced green onions. Season lightly with black pepper and a small pinch of salt. The mixture comes together in less than 2 minutes. Once everything is evenly combined, lightly grease a muffin tin and divide the mixture between the cups. Fill each cup about 3/4 full, leaving a little room for the eggs to rise as they bake. Place the tray into a preheated 375-degree oven and bake for 18 to 20 minutes. As they cook, the tops become lightly golden while the inside stays soft and fluffy. The cheese melts into the eggs and the vegetables add color, texture, and flavor without making the recipe complicated. One reason these muffins are so practical is their flexibility. If you have leftover turkey, diced ham, mushrooms, broccoli, or even a little cooked chicken, you can easily add it to the mixture. The recipe adapts to whatever happens to be in your refrigerator. Just 2 or 3 muffins provide a satisfying amount of protein, making them a great option for breakfast, lunch, or even a light dinner. They're also easy to store. Simply keep them in the refrigerator and reheat them when needed. There is something especially satisfying about opening the refrigerator and finding a homemade meal already waiting for you. These muffins feel comforting, familiar, and far more interesting than another bowl of cereal. And if eggs can do all that, wait until you see what an old sandwich favorite can do for your protein. 3. Tuna Melt. This old-fashioned sandwich has been around for generations, and for good reason. A tuna melt is warm, filling, easy to make, and packed with flavor in every bite. Start by draining 1 can of tuna and placing it in a mixing bowl. Add a tablespoon or 2 of mayonnaise, a little black pepper, and a spoonful of finely diced celery if you enjoy a bit of crunch. Stir everything together until the mixture is creamy and evenly combined. Next, place 2 slices of bread on a cutting board. Whole grain bread works well, but almost any sturdy sandwich bread will do. Spread the tuna mixture evenly across one slice and top it with a generous slice of cheddar cheese. Place the second slice of bread on top. Heat a non-stick skillet over medium heat and lightly butter the outside of the sandwich. Place it in the skillet and cook for 3 to 4 minutes per side until the bread becomes golden brown and crisp. The cheese should be fully melted by the time the sandwich is finished. Once it's done, transfer it to a cutting board and slice it diagonally. The melted cheese combines with the warm tuna filling, creating a rich texture that makes the sandwich feel much more substantial than an ordinary lunch. Tuna is naturally high in protein, and when paired with cheese, the total protein content becomes even more impressive. That's one reason this simple sandwich remains such a practical option for older adults looking for satisfying meals without complicated preparation. Another advantage is convenience. Most of the ingredients can be kept on hand for days or even weeks, making this a reliable meal when a trip to the grocery store isn't in the plans. The aroma of toasted bread and melted cheese has a way of making a kitchen feel instantly welcoming. It's familiar, comforting, and reminds many people of simple homemade lunches from years gone by. If you'd rather trade the warm sandwich for something cold and refreshing, the next meal looks like it came straight from a cafe. 4. Shrimp avocado salad. Some high-protein meals feel heavy. This one feels fresh, colorful, and more like something you'd order at a cafe than make at home in your own kitchen. Start by cooking about half a pound of shrimp. If you're using frozen shrimp, thaw them first and pat them dry with a paper towel. Heat a small skillet over medium heat, add a little olive oil, and cook the shrimp for about 2 minutes per side until they're pink and opaque. While the shrimp cools slightly, prepare the rest of the salad. Dice 1 ripe avocado into bite-sized pieces and place it in a large bowl. Add halved cherry tomatoes, diced cucumber, and a small handful of thinly sliced red onion. These ingredients create a colorful mix that's both crisp and creamy. Next, add the cooked shrimp to the bowl. For the dressing, simply combine a squeeze of fresh lemon juice with a tablespoon of olive oil and a pinch of black pepper. Drizzle it over the salad and toss gently to combine everything, without crushing the avocado. One of the best things about this recipe is how quickly it comes together. The entire meal can be ready in less than 15 minutes. Yet it looks like something that required much more effort. The shrimp provide a generous amount of protein, while the avocado adds richness and helps make the salad satisfying enough to stand on its own as a meal. Unlike many salads that leave you hungry an hour later, this one feels substantial and filling. The bright colors also make a difference. The pink shrimp, green avocado, red tomatoes, and crisp cucumber create a plate that looks inviting before you even take the first bite. It's the kind of meal that's especially enjoyable on a warm afternoon when you want something nourishing without turning on the oven or spending a long time in the kitchen. But if you're craving something a little crispier and a lot cheesier, the next meal delivers both in every bite. 5. Chicken flatbread pizza. Pizza is probably the last thing most people expect to see on a high-protein meal list. But this simple flatbread version proves that comfort food and protein can absolutely belong on the same plate. Start with a store-bought flatbread or thin tortilla-style crust. Place it on a baking sheet and spread a thin layer of pizza sauce across the surface. You don't need much, just enough to lightly cover the bread without making it soggy. Next comes the protein. Scatter a generous layer of cooked diced chicken across the top. Rotisserie chicken works especially well because it's convenient and already packed with flavor. Follow that with a blend of shredded mozzarella and a little Parmesan cheese. For extra color and texture, add a few thin slices of red onion and some diced bell pepper. If you enjoy a little freshness, a handful of spinach can be added as well. The goal is to keep the toppings simple rather than piling on too many ingredients. Bake at 400 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes, or until the cheese is melted and bubbling around the edges. The flatbread becomes crisp, the vegetables soften slightly, and the chicken stays tender beneath the layer of cheese. One reason this meal works so well is portion control. Traditional pizza can easily become oversized, but a flatbread pizza provides the same familiar flavors in a more manageable serving. It feels like a treat without requiring an entire pizza box sitting on the counter.
The chicken and cheese provide a substantial amount of protein, helping make the meal more satisfying than a standard slice of pizza. At the same time, it remains easy enough for a weeknight dinner when you don't want to spend an hour cooking. There's also something undeniably enjoyable about pulling a hot pizza from the oven. The aroma fills the kitchen, the cheese stretches with every slice, and the crispy edges make it feel like comfort food in the best possible way. After something hot and cheesy, let's switch gears completely with a meal that doesn't need the stove at all. 6. Turkey avocado wrap. Some of the easiest high-protein meals don't require cooking at all. This turkey and avocado wrap comes together in minutes, travels well, and works equally well for lunch, dinner, or a quick meal between activities. Start with a large, soft tortilla or wrap. Lay it flat on a cutting board and spread a thin layer of hummus, light cream cheese, or mashed avocado across the surface.
This adds flavor and helps hold everything together once the wrap is rolled. Next, layer several slices of deli turkey across the center. Choose a low-sodium variety if possible. Add a few slices of ripe avocado, some crisp lettuce, thin cucumber slices, and a few strips of red bell pepper for extra color and crunch. Try not to overfill the wrap. A moderate amount of filling makes it easier to roll and keeps everything neatly inside. Once the ingredients are arranged, fold the sides inward and roll the tortilla tightly from one end to the other. For a more attractive presentation, slice the wrap diagonally down the center. The colorful layers become visible immediately, making the meal look much more impressive than the effort required to prepare it. Turkey is an excellent source of protein, and the avocado adds a creamy texture that makes every bite more satisfying. Together, they create a meal that feels balanced without being heavy.
One reason many people enjoy this wrap is its convenience. There are no pots to wash, no oven to preheat, and very little cleanup afterward. Everything can be assembled in just a few minutes. It's also easy to customize. Some people add tomato slices, others prefer spinach, and some include a slice of cheese for even more flavor and protein. The basic idea stays simple while allowing plenty of flexibility. This is the kind of meal that's perfect for busy days when you want something fresh, filling, and dependable without spending much time in the kitchen. And if you enjoyed skipping the stove, remember that number 8 is still ahead. But first, a salad that's far more filling than it looks. 7. Chicken pasta salad. Most people don't think of pasta salad as a high-protein meal. In many cases, they're right. But with the right ingredients, this simple dish becomes much more satisfying and substantial than the versions often served at picnics and potlucks.
Start by cooking 2 cups of pasta according to the package directions. Rotini, penne, or bow tie pasta all work well because they hold the dressing nicely. Once cooked, drain the pasta and allow it to cool slightly. While the pasta cools, prepare the other ingredients. Dice 2 cups of cooked chicken into bite-sized pieces. Rotisserie chicken works perfectly here because it's tender and convenient. Next, chop a cucumber, halve a handful of cherry tomatoes, and dice a bell pepper. The vegetables add freshness, color, and texture without requiring much effort. In a large mixing bowl, combine the pasta, chicken, and vegetables. For the dressing, mix a few spoonfuls of Greek yogurt with a little lemon juice, black pepper, and a small amount of Dijon mustard. Stir until smooth, then pour it over the salad and gently toss everything together. The result is a meal that feels fresh and light, while still being surprisingly filling. The chicken provides most of the protein, while the yogurt dressing adds a little more without making the salad heavy. One reason this recipe works so well is that it can be made ahead of time. In fact, many people think it tastes even better after spending a few hours in the refrigerator. The flavors blend together, and the dressing coats every piece of pasta. It's also incredibly practical. A single batch can provide lunch or dinner for several days, making it useful for anyone who prefers cooking once and enjoying multiple meals throughout the week. The colorful vegetables make the bowl look inviting, and every bite offers something slightly different. Some bites are creamy, some are crunchy, and some are packed with tender chicken. If you're looking for a meal that requires even less preparation, the next option can be assembled in minutes and doesn't even need a stove. 8. Tuna-Stuffed Avocado. And here it is, number 8.
An avocado may be one of the most overlooked high-protein meal bases in the grocery store. Most people think of it as a side dish or something added to toast, but with the right filling, it can become a complete and surprisingly satisfying meal. Start with a ripe avocado and cut it in half lengthwise. Remove the pit and scoop out a small amount of flesh from the center to create a little more room for the filling. Set that extra avocado aside because it will be used in just a moment. In a small bowl, combine 1 can of drained tuna with a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt or mayonnaise, whichever you prefer. Add the reserved avocado, a squeeze of lemon juice, and a little black pepper. Mix everything together until the tuna salad becomes creamy but still has some texture. Spoon the mixture directly into the avocado halves. Don't worry if the filling sits slightly above the edge. In fact, it often looks more appealing that way. For extra flavor, sprinkle a few chopped green onions or a little parsley on top. What makes this meal so convenient is that almost no cooking is required. The most time-consuming part is opening the can of tuna. Everything else comes together in just a few minutes, making it perfect for days when standing in the kitchen feels like more work than you'd like. The combination of tuna and avocado creates a satisfying balance of protein and healthy fats. The creamy avocado pairs naturally with the savory tuna, giving the meal a rich texture without feeling heavy. Some people enjoy it exactly as it is, while others serve it alongside sliced cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, or a handful of crackers. It works equally well as a light lunch, a quick dinner, or even a substantial snack. Best of all, it feels a little special despite how simple it is. The presentation is attractive, the colors are vibrant, and it looks far more impressive than the amount of effort required to make it.
If you're in the mood for something warm again, the next meal brings tender shrimp and fluffy rice together in one satisfying bowl. 9. Shrimp and Rice Bowl. Some of the most satisfying high-protein dinners come together in a single bowl. This shrimp and rice bowl is simple, colorful, and easy to customize with whatever vegetables you already have in your kitchen. Start by preparing 1 cup of rice according to the package directions. While the rice cooks, heat a tablespoon of olive oil in a skillet over medium heat. Add about half a pound of peeled shrimp and cook for 2 to 3 minutes per side until they turn pink and opaque. Once the shrimp are cooked, remove them from the skillet and set them aside. In the same pan, add a handful of broccoli florets, sliced carrots, or snap peas. Cook for a few minutes until the vegetables become tender, but still maintain a little texture. Now it's time to assemble the bowl. Spoon the warm rice into a large serving bowl and arrange the shrimp and vegetables on top. For extra flavor, drizzle with a little low-sodium soy sauce, a squeeze of fresh lemon juice, or a light garlic sauce. One reason this meal works so well is that it feels complete without being complicated. The rice provides a comforting base, the vegetables add freshness and color, and the shrimp bring plenty of protein without requiring long cooking times. It's also incredibly adaptable. If you have leftover vegetables in the refrigerator, they can easily be added to the bowl. If shrimp isn't available, cooked chicken works just as well. The basic idea stays the same. The contrast of textures makes every bite enjoyable. You get tender shrimp, fluffy rice, and vegetables that add just enough crunch to keep the meal interesting from beginning to end. This is the kind of dinner that looks impressive in a bowl, but requires surprisingly little effort behind the scenes. It feels balanced, satisfying, and perfect for a busy evening. And for our final meal, we'll end with something warm, hearty, and comforting enough to feel like a complete dinner all by itself. 10. Baked sweet potato with chicken. A baked sweet potato topped with chicken and melted cheese may not sound complicated, but the combination creates a surprisingly satisfying meal that's packed with flavor and protein. Start by washing a medium sweet potato and piercing it several times with a fork. Place it on a baking sheet and bake at 400 degrees for about 45 to 50 minutes, or until the center becomes soft and tender. If you're short on time, the sweet potato can also be cooked in the microwave. Once it's fully cooked, carefully slice it open down the middle. Use a fork to gently fluff the inside, creating space for the toppings while keeping the potato intact. Next, add about 1 cup of cooked shredded chicken.
Rotisserie chicken works especially well because it's already seasoned and ready to use. Spread the chicken evenly over the potato and top it with a generous handful of shredded cheddar cheese. Return it to the oven for a few minutes, just long enough for the cheese to melt and become bubbly. When it's finished, add a sprinkle of green onions or chopped parsley for a little color and freshness. The contrast of flavors makes this meal especially enjoyable. The natural sweetness of the potato pairs beautifully with the savory chicken and rich melted cheese. Every bite feels comforting without becoming overly heavy. The chicken provides plenty of protein, while the sweet potato contributes fiber and a soft texture that's easy to enjoy. Together, they create a meal that feels complete without requiring multiple side dishes. Another advantage is simplicity. Most of the cooking time happens while the potato bakes, leaving very little active work in the kitchen.
It's an easy recipe to prepare on a quiet evening when you want something warm and satisfying. There is something undeniably comforting about a steaming baked potato on a cool day. The aroma, the melted cheese, and the soft interior make it feel like a meal that belongs at the end of a long day. These 10 meals prove that getting more protein after 60 doesn't require expensive ingredients, complicated recipes, or hours in the kitchen. Sometimes the simplest meals are the ones we come back to again and again. Start with just one this week. The egg muffins, the tuna melt, or that number 8, the one that never even touched the stove. Then tell me in the comments which meal you'd try first. I read every single one. And subscribe for more easy meal ideas designed with seniors in mind. Take good care of yourself. I'll see you next time.